Hello, YouTube. Hey, I've got another one for you. Another military police, believe it or not. However, this person did in fact serve on active duty. Not going to mention any names yet because this one definitely rises above and beyond um, the federal statute for stolen valor. And I've got some, I'm waiting to get records back. And I just sent it off. But I had somebody who retired from the U.S. Army Reserve with 30 years, a friend of a friend, reached out to me and gave me this big long list of different articles, videos of this individual and their claims. Now, this individual decided to join the Army. Um, the person states that their family has a background in the Marine Corps. However, they joined the Army. Um, while they were in their sophomore year of college at Long Island University, they were there during 9/11 and decided to join after that. Of course, they waited until 2005. If they were a sophomore 9/11 and they joined the Army right out, I don't know how long they spent in college. I don't know what kind of degree they were going for. But that's a little bit longer than what most people spend in college. And again, dates, times, uh, basically their claims, none of it really adds up. So I looked at the very first video, and the person's claiming 3.5 years as an MP. Okay. So you join the Army active duty. You go to Fort McClellan to become an MP. It's called OSUT, OSUT. It's one station unit training. You join a unit, you go through BCT, then you go through AIT for military police, 20 weeks total, about 5 months, and then you go to your first duty station. In this person's first duty station, from everything I've been able to get, they're very vague about some things, but they were in Area A1 in Korea. Well, Area A1 is Camp Casey, Camp Red Cloud. It's up along the DMZ. So, in this first video, they said while they were serving overseas, they were attacked by locals. And then they go into the injuries, a couple of skull fractures, organ damage, spinal cord injury, and lost both legs due to the spinal cord injury. Well, we'll get into that a little bit more as I go through this. Um, yeah. And then that was the first video. The second video, oh, and by the way, they keep saying 3.5 years as an MP. However, they joined on 5 July 2005, and they were discharged 27 December 2007, which by all accounts is 2.5 years, not 3.5 years. And they're claiming sergeant. They also say medically retired. So if they were medically retired, if they were an E4 promotable, a lot of times when someone is going through a retirement, they will promote them just for the little bump in benefits or pay. Then I get into another video where there's a pretty in-depth interview. Again, the Long Island University on 9/11, and I'm just looking at my notes here. They mentioned, they were worried about the people that they couldn't locate, and then the smell from the bodies in the city. Most of the bodies were, I mean, completely vaporized, burned. There were remains, but unless you were right there, and Long Island University's in Brooklyn, so I don't know how close that was to the 9/11 site, but yeah, that didn't really sound kosher to me. But then again, like I said, I'm not calling them out yet. I'm waiting on the records. I also have a Freedom of Information request into the Long Island University for any and all enrollment records for this individual. Again, they signed up for a 5-year contract. I didn't know there was a 5-year contract, but I may be incorrect. I always thought it was either 3 or 6. I have heard a 4-year, but I don't know. It's been so many years since I did my initial enlistment, and every time I re-enlisted after that, it was for 6. So, but they had planned on doing 22 years, even though 20 years is a retirement. Um, while overseas, now this is dealing with the incident to where this person was injured. Um, they were doing a peacekeeping mission attached to an infantry unit, and they were attacked by locals. It wasn't an IED. Why the fuck would you put that in there? Attacked by locals, but it wasn't an IED. Well, you're stationed in Korea, Camp Casey, Camp Red Cloud area. I guess you could say that, being stationed in Korea is peacekeeping. I guess. I don't know. But if there had been a locals attack on military members in Korea, the whole world would have known about it. And this would have been in 2006. Because they claim they were attacked either on 22 June or 22 July. That changes depending on which article or video that you're watching. Let's see. So the injuries, again, spinal cord injury, organ damage, crushed left arm, and lost 2 fingers. This is really freaking weird. So the person that reported this individual has photographs and dates of when they had the hand surgery and the 2 fingers removed. And it was in 2012, not 2006, when supposedly their arm got crushed and they lost 2 fingers. So, not sure what happened with the 2 fingers. But there is a medical diagnosis for people that get things amputated. More on that. Organ damage, crushed left arm, lost 2 fingers, a couple of skull fractures, facial fractures, and a TBI. Now, this happened in June or July of 2006. And then they DeRoached, which is coming back to the States, and went to Fort Hood. There's photographs of this person at Fort Hood, and the person looks completely healthy in uniform. But you can't tell from a photo or several photos. So, but they were assigned to an MP unit at Fort Hood or Fort Cavazo or whatever they're calling it nowadays. I don't know. Makes no sense. Um, so the person states that they were medically discharged, um, and there's one photograph of this person standing in front of their battalion MP company or MP battalion sign. So I've reached out to the command sergeant major from that time, easily found. Haven't heard back from him yet. Not sure if he's even going to respond. I just basically asked him, hey, I'd like to talk to you about a soldier that served in your battalion in this time frame, 2006 time frame, 2006, 2007. It would have been late 2006 into 2007 uh, with leave returning from Korea. If they took 30 days, it would have been mostly all of 2007. Because again, they actually served from 5 July 2005 to 27 December 2007, 5 months of school. That would have made it December of 2005. So December 05 to December 06, they would have been in Korea. 30-day, so it would have been 2007 when they were at Hood. It's hard to say, and the stories change depending on what article you're reading or what interview you're looking at. And I'm not going to put any of that out there yet because I think this one's going to rise again to criminal behavior if in fact it does, based on the military records when I get them. At which point, then it's going to go to the VA Office of the Inspector General, and I'm also going to drop a note to a friend of mine who works at the field office of the FBI here locally for me. But the next one is an interview with a radio station, and things change a little bit as we get later on. The skull fractures, the broken jaw, broken cheeks, broken nose, TBI, crushed left arm, repairs to right hand and wrist, 3 abdominal surgeries due to the organ damage, and was stabbed in the spine. So the stories change as we go along. An incomplete spinal cord injury and the lost legs. Well, and then she says, or the person says that they can't reveal where they were injured overseas. It's locked away in the secrecy of military career. Ooh. Super secret squirrel shit. Ding, 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 ding. The red flags are going off. I can see why this person, this friend of a friend, reached out to me and asked me to take a peek-see at it. It's so, and I forget what it's called. It was in an email, but all of this took place. The injury took place supposedly in 2006. The leg amputations took place in 2015, where this individual went to Mexico to have the legs removed below the knee. The person that reported this said that there were, every time he threw the bullshit flag on some of the posts, the pictures in question, so on and so forth, disappeared. So that's kind of weird. The hand surgery, the finger amputations that took place in 2012, all of that disappeared. Luckily, he saved most of that. There was a GoFundMe in regards to getting the legs amputated. This was an elective surgery. They went down to Mexico, had the legs cut off. They have received a home, a high-tech home for wounded veterans. However, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I've never, ever, ever, ever heard of any MPs being attached to an MP unit or being attached to an infantry unit for a peacekeeping mission. Now, peacekeeping in the traditional sense is usually dealing with NATO. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. This one's very intriguing. I would love to think that none of this is bullshit. However, there was another spot where, oh, here it is. So this was during, I forget, the second video I was watching of an interview that this person had spent 8 years in a wheelchair, and because of their spinal injury, which paralyzed them below the knee, so it was below the knee paralysis. They rehabbed in the military for 1.5 years. They only did 2.5 years in the military. So did they start their rehab while they were in Korea and then transferred to Fort Hood to an MP unit for rehab and not warrior transition? And then they transferred to the VA for 3.5. Well, you don't transfer to the VA. You get discharged and then you seek VA care. And then in the first article I looked at, it's a little more summarized as to what the injuries were. However, the injury took a blow to the forehead with a fractured skull and frontal and temporal lobes damaged. Also spinal cord injury. No mention of anything else. Can you say bag of worms? Because that's how this story is. It is all intertwined like a bag of worms. And I really don't know what to make of it. My bullshit flags are waving. They've received a shitload of benefits for wounded veterans through the VA and through other nonprofit organizations that provide homes to severely handicapped wounded warriors or wounded soldiers. And I don't see it, not in Korea. But then they don't specify that their peacekeeping mission was in Korea. It was in Asia. Really? And they won't say where. But they were attached to an infantry unit doing peacekeeping. And I have yet to find any peacekeeping missions during that time frame. I mean, granted, we were freaking asshole deep in Iraq and Afghanistan. In Iraq, that was during the push, 05, 06 time frame. I was there 06, 07. And it was the Wild Wild West. So, weren't they? No mention of that. And it wasn't an IED. We got attacked by locals. Hey, you guys tell me what you think. Leave it down in the comments. It's probably going to be 6 to 8 weeks before I get anything back from MPRC. I've also requested Freedom of Information from HRC at Fort Knox. I haven't had a whole lot of luck with them either. They tend to drag their feet. I don't know what the issue is with getting this stuff. It's all publicly available by request for redacted documents, and the requests are out there. Again, I sent one off to the Long Island University um, to see if this person was in their sophomore year on 9/11. Be curious to see what's up with that. By the way, I do have a date of birth, 82. So they would have been 19 sophomore year, Long Island University. Yeah, it could have worked. That could be. If they graduated high school at 17, then 18, 19, 2 years of college. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. But they would have, even with a 4 year degree, they would have, let's see, 2000, they would have graduated in 2004. Yeah, those dates aren't too far fetched. Those dates aren't too far fetched. Um, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. And yeah, what do we got? 4 days for Kaiser. Today's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Ding, ding, ding. 4 days. What's everybody going to talk about if he goes to jail? Oh, boy. Anyway, let me know in the comments. This one's kind of got my interest up high. Like I said, I'm going to have to sit back and sit on it. I'm still waiting on Herb Minshew, our Library of Congress interviewee with the USMC. Still, I'm going to be waiting on those for a while too. But hey, once I get all this stuff back, you guys will be the first to know. Have yourself a great day.